Welcome to today's Explainer. Look, let's just jump right into a pretty harsh reality, okay? The world doesn't always play fair. You can be the most honest, incredibly skilled person in the room, and somebody is still going to try to undercut you. It's just human dynamics. But today, we are diving into the strategist's playbook. We're going to uncover the hidden psychological traits that give the survivors, the people who actually rule the room, an invisible but undeniable edge.
Let's look at the difference in how people handle adversity. Honestly, most folks out there, they're stuck playing checkers. When things go sideways, they get emotionally reactive. They get mad, they complain, and they let those raw feelings completely dictate their next move. But what happens when you upgrade and start playing chess? You shift from being this emotionally reactive amateur to a strategically intelligent professional. While everyone else is arguing, the chess player is quietly gathering information. While others are drowning in their feelings, the chess player is calculating their next move.
So, what do we actually call this skill set? It's known as dark intelligence. And no, it's not as sinister as it sounds. It's simply the ability to build strength from pain, to observe quietly, and to calculate your moves so you can navigate complex dynamics effectively. We're talking about understanding the rules of the game to protect yourself and create better outcomes. Think of it as playing an incredibly strong defense rather than trying to manipulate or destroy anybody else.
Section 1. Controlling your public image. Mastering external presentation.
You know, the most influential people in any room never just let others guess who they are. They maintain absolute intentional control over how the world perceives them. Machiavelli actually hit the nail on the head with this one. He said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." And this brings us to a concept called calculated opacity. Think about the most intriguing people you know. Do they spill their entire life story the second you meet them? Absolutely not. They leave little gaps. They might answer a question with another question. By strategically withholding certain information, they actually build this incredible aura of intrigue and influence.
Because here's the thing. There is a massive behavioral trap we all fall into, and that is total transparency. When someone asks us a question, we almost feel obligated to give them the full download, right? Our fears, our plans, our motivations. We think, oh, I'm building trust. But really, we're just making ourselves entirely predictable and literally giving away our power. Compare that to calculated opacity. Say someone asks about your weekend plans. Saying, oh, I'm just going to sit on the couch and watch a movie is totally transparent, sure, but it's completely forgettable. But what if you just smile and say, I have something important to take care of, and then smoothly change the subject? Boom. Suddenly, you've created curiosity. Your personal information is a highly valuable currency. You really shouldn't spend it all at once.
And that builds perfectly into our next strategic trait, which is controlled exposure. Remember this, information revealed can never be unrevealed. Once you put it out there, you cannot take it back. By being strategic about when and what you reveal, you create this really powerful curiosity gap. Our brains are naturally hardwired to want to fill in missing information. So whether you're in a job interview and you choose to reveal your skills gradually over your first few months, or you're just managing your digital footprint on social media, keeping a little bit of mystery makes you incredibly captivating.
Now, let's talk about the adaptive persona. Take a look at how communication styles really need to shift depending on who you're talking to. If you have an analytical audience, you've got to give them facts and data. If they're emotional, you need to connect with their feelings. And practical folks, you just need to show them exactly how the thing works. And look, this isn't about being fake, not at all. Think of it like water taking the shape of whatever container it's poured into. It is still water. It hasn't lost its core identity. I mean, you naturally speak differently to your grandmother than you do to your coworkers, right? The adaptive persona just takes that completely natural tendency and makes it highly intentional, so you can build deep connections with absolutely anyone.
Section 2. Mastering the internal mindset. Freedom from emotional control.
Okay, so we've spent some time on the external stuff, but to truly be untouchable in this world, we have got to master how we process things on the inside. We need freedom from emotional control, and that leads us to the principle of detachment. Essentially, what you are not afraid to lose cannot control you. People get detachment all wrong. They think it means being cold or uncaring. It doesn't. It just means being free. Imagine you're negotiating a business deal, or maybe your salary. If you are desperately counting on it to work out, you are operating from a place of fear, and the other side literally holds all the leverage. But if you care about the deal, yet you genuinely aren't afraid to walk away because you've got other options, wow, you suddenly have the ultimate power in that room.
And we see this mindset applied perfectly in something called outcome obsession. Think about it. On one side, you have arguing to win.
This is the amateur mindset. It's driven by ego, the need to look smart, and this desperate desire to just prove somebody else wrong. But on the other side, you have focusing on outcomes. The professional is ruthlessly focused on getting actual results. Let's say your goal is to change a coworker's behavior. Aggressively proving them wrong in front of the whole team is just going to make them defensive and stubborn, right? The outcome-obsessed person completely drops their ego and just asks, okay, what approach is actually going to get me the results I want here?
Section 3. The Art of Silent Influence. Shaping Outcomes Without Demands.
So, how do we actively and purposefully steer a situation without ever raising our voice? Let's anchor this with another thought from Machiavelli. Never was anything great achieved without danger. Navigating power dynamics is risky, for sure, but most people handle it completely wrong. They think power is loud. They think it's about making demands and forcing people to listen to them. But real power whispers. This is the trait of silent leverage. It's that quiet, strategic patience of becoming so consistently valuable and indispensable that people just naturally want to follow your lead. You don't have to demand loyalty. Your presence alone commands it.
The real question is, how do we actually build that silent influence? Well, we do it through a fascinating technique called the psychological echo. Whenever you interact with someone, they are constantly, silently asking you 3 questions. Do you see me? Do you understand me? Do you value me? Think about it. Most of the time, people just listen so they can formulate their own response. But if you can listen to mirror back their unspoken emotional needs, if you can answer yes to those 3 questions without literally saying the word yes, you are going to earn a massive, unshakable level of trust.
Section 4. Navigating the Gray Areas. Ambiguous Morality.
Now, this is probably the most complex theme in our explainer: ambiguous morality. Operating in the real world means waking up to the fact that pure, black and white moral clarity, it's often a total luxury. We're talking about pragmatic ethics here, not an excuse to just be selfish. For example, keeping a dishonest employer around just to spare their feelings might look like the nice thing to do, but it actively hurts your honest team members and your clients. Sometimes you absolutely have to focus on outcomes over appearances and protect the many over the one, because sometimes true kindness is actually delivering a really difficult truth. And to navigate these gray areas successfully, it's absolutely vital to establish non-negotiable personal boundaries, so you always know exactly where your line is.
Section 5. Becoming Strategically Intelligent. The 7-Day Challenge.
We've unpacked a seriously potent psychological playbook today, but let's be real. Knowledge without application doesn't change a thing. So here is your challenge. Choose just one trait from this explainer and practice it for the next 7 days. Seriously, do not try to master the whole shebang at once. Just pick one. Maybe tomorrow you try calculated opacity and you consciously hold back from oversharing. Or maybe you practice silent leverage by just embracing a comfortable 5-second pause before you answer a question. Pick one, test it out in your real-life interactions, and just quietly observe how the dynamic changes.
And I want to leave you with a final, somewhat provocative question to chew on. Will you choose to be the dangerous person with nothing to lose, or the valuable person who uses psychology to make everyone's life better? The power is entirely in your hands. The world desperately needs more people who use strategic intelligence to navigate complex situations, protect themselves, and build real win-win outcomes. Keep that in the back of your mind as you step out and play the game. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay sharp and keep learning.